You're watching iRacing on the Ghostfire Media Network.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the big one for the second of the round of 12 in the AOLL Cup Series. I'm Josh Lassen. With me tonight, as always, is Mr. Carl Henderson.
Hey, Josh, I am super excited about this race. Super speedways are like some of my favorite tracks to run on and cover. And I'll tell you what, there have got to be a lot of guys nervous about this race with the Roval coming up next.
And a lot of guys are definitely trying to get that win to automatically get themselves through because, yes, when you close out the round with a road course that, honestly, most of these guys are not going to be the best at, it's gonna be we need to get as many points as we possibly can going into the final round.
Well, yeah, I mean this is the kind of track right here that it's going to open up the door for guys. You know, if they get a win, they can advance that. You know, that weren't typically expected to be able to contend. I mean, you get guys back there in the points like Tim St. Jean, Ed Springer, Tony Pandon, Kevin Haas, and also Josh Hanner, currently running in 12th due to not being able to race last week. So there's some guys out there that are going to be really going for it tonight.
And it's going to be great because the best thing about Talladega that we don't get to see in the other plate tracks is we're going to have the opportunity to go 3 wide. Even Thursday night, we saw some 4 wide action in the TNT series with the ARCA cars. And I'm hoping we get to see it and we don't unfortunately have to deal with the current draft package nearly as much.
Well, I'll tell you who I would expect to be one of the first to go 3 wide if he's not starting up front. That's Blake Gordon. We've seen him go 3 wide at this track in Daytona many times. And he's also a guy, since he won last week, he can go out and kind of, he's guaranteed to advance the next round. So he can go out and try to go for the win and try to get more bonus points for the next round.
Yeah, and we did get to see a win out of Blake Gordon on a super speedway on Wednesday night in the Sportsman Series. So those demons have been exercised, and I think we're ready to see the best of Blake Gordon coming out tonight. And for just a moment, I wanted to bring out that Mr. Randy Pepper was at the top of the list. And he is currently sitting in second. Randy Pepper hasn't been running the Cup Series, but he does love plate tracks. It's the great equalizer, and Randy has moves on these plate tracks.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, I was spotting for you guys and the combined closed circuit and first response rejects team on Thursday night. And, I mean, it's fun watching. I mean, Randy, Randy struggles with the 1.5 miles. And he does okay at short tracks. He does okay at super speedways. It's the 1.5 miles that he's not really caught the hang of yet.
Well, on iRacing.
On iRacing, yeah.
From what we've heard, Randy Pepper was a beast before the move to iRacing with all of the Papyrus NASCAR games, and just hasn't really translated over yet.
Yeah, well, I also hear he's a rock star, and yet he's never played any music for us on the podcast before. So,
well, but
I'm not convinced.
But he also has made the intro music that we use going into all of the AOLL.
But do we really know that? He may have contracted that out. I never saw him play it. I've never seen him play a guitar. I'm gonna need some proof out of him one day.
So, Randy, if you watch this back, Carl's calling out your skills right now.
I hope he watches it back. This goes to our media network.
I know, and he's an integral part, but let's go ahead. We have everyone coming to the grid right now. Let's run through. Our pole sitter tonight is Steve Gottschalk, followed in second by Randy Pepper. Adam Wood is in third, Kevin Pearson fourth, Marshall Hall fifth, John Gordon in sixth, Joshua Hanner in seventh, Derek Schilling in eighth, William Klingbill in ninth, 10th is Chris Piscini.
In 11th, we have Justin Anderson. 12th, Sean Carmody. 13th, Joe Dinsmore. In 14th, we have Brandon Bernhardt. 15th, Blake Gordon. 16th is Ross Gage. In 17th, we have Dan Witt. 18th, Tim St. Jean. 19th, Mike Burgess. And in 20th, the Juice, Greg Jurasio.
And 21st is Blake Ziti, 22nd, Greg Wellen, 23rd, Teddy Weichel, 24th, Tony Pandon, 25th is Gael Brooks, 26th is David Naughton, 27th is Jason Swan, 28th is Andrew Burgess, 29th is Mike Bass, and 30th is Justin Edwards.
You know, a couple things I saw interesting about that qualifying there. First of all, we saw a lot of guys there not set times. But second, that I thought was really interesting is you look at that top 10, there are a lot of guys up there that are outside of the chase.
And again, it's the great equalizer that we currently have a lot of people, and I'm not sure if that's actually...
I'm checking.
Had some issues there on the start, because this is definitely not standard pace lap fare with this much of a gap. But
Oh yeah, we had a little bit of an issue. Just a little bump. We're good.
We'll take a quick gander while we wait here. Even though apparently
I went back a little too far.
Oh yeah, that outside line checked up.
Yeah, there we go. And it's just gonna, yep.
All right.
Stacked up a little bit. It happens. I've been there.
Just a little bit. And one thing our eagle-eyed viewers may notice is, for some reason, we aren't going to be able to see any of the Endeavor Racing cars tonight outside of on the track because, well, they may have asked me a question on Monday night when we were racing and thought me saying I can tell the cars apart without the numbers. They decided to literally take the numbers off and all of the color.
Well,
so we're going to call some of them wrong tonight, and you know what? I'm not going to feel bad.
Well, I think we just don't talk about them. We told them that pre-broadcast. We're just not going to talk about them. We're just going to ignore that they exist. We're going to pretend like they're shadows of other cars. Well,
and as we are coming to green, yeah, looks like John Gordon's going to be the only one in the fight early, so the rest of them just hanging out towards the back. But the pace car is off, and the green flag does not fly for quite a while at Talladega. But we are prepped to go, and that inside line has quite a few Steel Horse Racing guys right there at the front, with the exception of Randy Pepper, and we are off, and Randy Pepper is getting a great jump, but he's going to be hung up on that outside line, and that's going to be problematic for him, as we have seen the draft package with these cars does not do well unless you have a ton of cars lined up, and that's going to give that bottom line a great opportunity to move.
And they do have a lot of cars lined up. I mean, probably some viewers are watching and saying, well, there are a lot of cars at the start of the race. But on that initial start, when the cars haven't really reached full momentum yet, that bottom line has a huge advantage. Really, the only way you can make the top line work once you get at full speed is to have a large group up there and to side draft.
Well, as we see Randy Pepper started in second, just dropping to the back. But that low line is pretty much still in full form right behind Steve Gottschalk. And right now he is just sitting there running away with that lower line. Going to lead a lot of laps tonight unless people decide to make some very bold moves to get around him.
Well, I mean, I think with this package, you're not going to see a ton of bold moves. I think, well, I say that. I feel like you get guys that are pretty conservative, but you get some guys that realize I've got to get up to the front and I have to lead this race because this package is harder to pass with than the other package. So you want to try to get up to the front as early as you can. You can't wait to the end of the race.
Correct, as we're starting to see a little bit of an outside line forming up there. And that is Justin Anderson, Blake Gordon, and Chris Piscini running nose to tail as Blake and Justin drop down into a gap in front of William Klingbeil, leaving Chris Piscini and two more Endeavor cars that who knows who they actually are out to dry. And Steve Gottschalk is just going to do everything he can to run away, but there are a few more cars looking to get up onto that top line, get a little bit of that drag taken away, and try to move up.
Well, you know, I've been in Chris Piscini's position before and pushed guys, and then they drop to the lower line. It's like, come on, man, I helped you get there. If it hadn't been for me, you wouldn't have been there. But
as we see Blake Gordon move to the outside, trying to take and get that entire front group moving a little bit more, as we see Joshua Hanner kind of dip out to the outside a little bit. Maybe he's trying to help those guys form up so they can start to take a little bit to the leaders.
Well, yeah, I mean, if Hanner wants to get to the lead right now, he needs that outside line to be strong. Now, he wants to be at the front of it, but if he can just peek out a little bit, let them get a little bit of this draft and drop back down, that's ideal situation for him.
It is, and right now we are just seeing a lot of patience from everyone, but we are seeing Joe Dinsmore take a peek around the outside of William Klingbeil, ends up dropping himself back down, and that's leaving Blake Gordon out there alone. Chris Piscini jumps out just ever so slightly to try to help him, but we're seeing it already.
Hey, let's take a look at that second pack back there. You got 4 Endeavor cars right there with Dan Witt also. Those guys have been side by side for a while, battling it out. I don't know who anybody is.
That
Black
is
car
John.
1, Black car 2.
It is John Gordon, Brandon Bernhardt, and Sean Carmody. But they are managing to really pull away, and all of them get slotted down as we're looking from the back bumper of John Gordon. They need to form up to catch that front group.
They should have the draft at this point. They're only less than a half second back from that other group, I believe. Oh, they're about a second. They should have the draft. I think they have the draft here.
But right now, Joshua Hanner is actually looking to poke himself out and try to get himself up to that front group. And
yeah, Hanner making a move here. He's got Justin Anderson and Joe Dinsmore behind him. He's trying to get to the front of this pack.
Well, and he's got two great people to run with right there. As I know, Justin Anderson is a great pusher, but as we're seeing, there's not enough up there in that top line to be able to really get a run, as it looks like Chris Piscini leaves room for his teammate. He drops down for a second, and then ultimately abandons that top line, and that's probably not going to sit well with those Steel Horse guys. As Chris Piscini looks like he's trying to do the same thing and leave some space for them to get down.
Yeah, I still think they can get there. I think at this point, you were saying like, they didn't have enough people up top, and that's probably true. At this point, you're kind of experimenting and seeing what works, what doesn't. And Justin Anderson dropping like a rock right now along with Joe Dinsmore.
Yeah, those two, they had to wait until they could find their next gap, because with how iRacing models these right now, there's not really much hope for an outside line.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like watching Martinsville. I mean, it's the guys like, riding around the outside trying to find gaps on the inside so they can just ride single file around the inside. It's honestly, I mean, in case of iRacing here, it's a bit embarrassing. Like, I mean, this is not very good racing. I'm hoping that these guys will be able to turn it into something, even though they're not being dealt the best hand.
Well, and it's going to be patience, especially since we're going to be forced to run single file for most of the night. It's going to turn into strategy. Yeah,
I think it's timing. It's all about timing. It's deciding when you're going to make your move, and it's having the people to make the move with you. And I mean, look, the side draft is effective here, but it's just so difficult to side draft in an online game where netcode's present, because you could be well clear of the person you're side drafting off of, and it's still counted as a wreck.
Well, and right now, with these two lines formed in the second pack, they're starting to lose that front group. And we're just definitely going to sit here and see, as Chris Piscini's getting a great push from John Gordon right there. These guys really need to get themselves organized single file so they cannot drop any farther back. They are 1.5 seconds roughly back from that first pack right now. And it's all due to some disorganization and a little racing.
It's funny because I guarantee you Chris Piscini's like sitting there like, come on, guys, let's get organized. But you look at someone like Dan Witt or Brandon Bernhardt on that outside, and they're like, okay, we can get single file, but how about you go back to the back, Chris Piscini? Because they want to go up there and they want to be at the front of this pack.
Well, and it's one of those things that we have 2 Steel Horse guys, 3 Endeavors, all inside of this little pack. You would think that we're going to reach a point, and it looks like right now that outside line is finally getting the freight train run by them. And now they'll be able to link up and hopefully at least spare themselves from dropping back more than 2 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, they're going to minimize the damage. But if they can stay single file here, they've got a shot to catch them, because this is a very long line. It looks like the time stabilized off. They're, about under 2.2. If they can stay linked up, I think they'll have a chance of catching them.
Definitely, but we're going to need to see John Gordon's in the exact right place on Chris Piscini right now. As we look, there he is in the gearbox camera. He is in the perfect position, but as we go a little farther back, they aren't as tight. Justin Anderson's catching a little bit, getting a little closer than he needs to, as we're seeing a little bit of chaos. It looks like we may have lost Marshall Hall, who ended up going off track. But right now, with how these 3 and 4 are all tightening up right now, they're starting to close that gap ever so slightly.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about how they had some gaps in there, and we got people battling for the lead at the front pack. Blake Gordon on the outside. I mean, that's what they did not need to do. I mean, right? They should have stayed linked up and tried to pull away from the second pack, but that's not going to happen now.
No, Blake Gordon falls to the very back of the pack. If I'm in Steve Gottschalk's shoes right now, knowing that there's still that gap, I would break out of the line, because we're looking only at about 24 laps, and that's in the pack of fuel. And if this front group needs to pit well before everyone else, because it looks like that second group, yeah, they're now officially under a half a second away and closing quickly to where this group of three with Chris Piscini, John Gordon, and Justin Anderson, as they catch, they may be able to get a good run and get themselves away from the rest of them.
They're staying in line, though, and I don't necessarily blame that after you have such a big gap and you regained it. It's like, hey, I just want to stay up here with you guys. And, yeah, I know what you're saying. Talking about fuel mileage, what we need to have happen is for John Gordon to wreck, and he always feeds me my fuel mileage numbers. Just kidding, John, when you watch this. I certainly hope you don't wreck.
Today's fuel numbers are coming from Jason Swan.
Okay.
Which is an abnormal place for me to get it, but I jumped into the Steel Horse group just to get answers, and of course there were quite a few of them that decided to give me really bad information.
Oh yeah,
because I would expect no different from them. But we see Blake Gordon actually jumps to the outside, and it looks like these Endeavor guys are going to try to link up, and I don't know who's at the front. I'm going to assume it's Blake, but they're going to try to link up on that outside line and see if they can get something moving that way, because they've got 5 cars, and 5 cars nose to tail may actually be able to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible. You got a team on the radio working with each other. 5 cars absolutely can pull up to the front. And look, we saw it with the truck race where Endeavor was able to work together so well. Minus John Gordon because he got caught up in issues. And also Sean Carmody wasn't in that race. So, I mean, you've got a bigger group. Oh, a little bit of issue there. We had someone get
That's Blake.
burned a little bit.
It's Blake dropping down, joining that front line, or the low line for just a second. But Adam Wood is back up on the bumper of Steve Gottschalk. And if we could get Adam, William Klingbill, and the 2 close circuit guys to all get as close as, well, we get to see in actual cup races, this could turn into just absolute speed.
Oh, yeah. Look at that push Adam Wood's giving Steve Gottschalk right now. Jeez, they just had a huge run there. Pushed them off, but, I mean, look, that gives William Klingbill an opportunity. I don't think he's going to take it. I think if you are a trying to play this race patiently, if you're up near the front, you're going to stay on that bottom line for now.
Oh, yeah, especially since we have stayed clean because, again, we aren't really getting to see the 3 wide as we actually see one of the Endeavor cars get a little squirrely and cause a little chaos there.
No idea who it was, but it was one of them.
Well, I know who it was, but I'm not going to call him out. But
it's way more fun when you call people out. Was it Blake Gordon?
Of course it was Blake. It was the two Gordons looking like they may have made a little bit of contact.
Oh. That's gonna be an awkward Thanksgiving.
Well, I mean, when you run with your father, you kind of end up having some words occasionally, I'm sure. But right now, we're closing in on the pit window, and Steve Gottschalk has led every lap of this race so far. And
That's a typical super speedway race, right? Where one person just gets out to the front and leads every lap. That's the package, and Gottschalk has done an incredible job taking advantage of it. It is so easy when you are up front like that to make a mistake and to give it up, and he's been flawless so far tonight.
And honestly, just let everybody race behind you. Chances are your entire team is going to come into the pits at the same time as you, because Steel Horse is a massive team.
Yeah, it's half the field right there.
And you're going to have 8 cars to run with. So no matter what, it is going to throw off the fuel mileage, because guaranteed Steve isn't going to be able to get the same amount as anybody that's been running behind him. So the entire team is probably going to end up running a 4-stopper tonight.
Well, and I think that what I was saying about Gottschalk and him having a flawless race, and you saying like letting people race behind you. I think a lot of times when guys who are less experienced at this get into a position where they're leading one of these super speedway races, the biggest mistake they make is they try to do too much. And I think a lot of guys you would have seen when Endeavor started forming that outside line there, they would have jumped up. They're like, oh, I'm going to take momentum off of them. And a lot of times it's just chill, like hang out. If you guys stay together on the inside, nobody's likely going to be able to pass you on the outside if you stay together. So just wait for them to try to make a move, and then you make your move.
And even more than that, we are going to start to see if they took that outside line and we're actually making it work, making it competitive like we got to see in the ARCAs on Thursday, they could be held captive to where they may not be able to pit when they need to because that low line, they don't need to pit. So why are they going to let you?
I think that's part of the reason why you've got everybody lining up single file. I mean, I think people realize that unless you had a group that's going to go with you, you're not going to make the outside work. So no reason to get hung out there, go to the back, or not be able to pit when you need to.
But we are through 20 laps of this race tonight as we see Randy Pepper down on the apron. That's going to cause some issues for Mr. Pepper right now. And
yeah, he almost came back up. It looked for a second, but wisely stays down. I'm not sure. Did he pit?
No, that was just. I think somebody may have thrown.
He pit.
Did he?
At least according to SDK, I'm looking here.
I think that was he ended up going down. Thinking he did.
He had contact with one of the Endeavor cars.
Yeah, Randy Pepper throwing elbows, but right now Randy is over 2 seconds behind that pack. So he's got the perfect idea of let's go ahead, get into the pits, and hopefully catch that group. The
contact he made with Endeavor, that it was not on him. I just rewatched it, and whichever Endeavor car it was came down on him a little bit, at least from my perspective.
But that little bit of chaos has made it to where we now have 2 packs again. So we are going to get to see what happens, and will they be able to form up and get caught up? And it looks like they probably have just enough of a sniff of the draft to be able to get themselves back up there.
Pitting.
We are seeing our first round, and let's go ahead.
Wow, we just had one of the Endeavor cars. I'm trying to see. It was Blake Gordon came in hot, really hot.
That sounds like Blake.
Someone got spun on pit road. Someone spun on pit road, and an Endeavor car goes around.
And that is gonna be rough, as we actually see 1 car, 2 cars fly through. I don't know if that's they missed their box, so they just pulled through. But right now, Mr. Joshua Hanner, Justin Anderson, Chris Piscini are all making their way into the pits. They stayed out that 1 extra lap and are making their way in as the rest of the field joins them, to where this is actually it looks like this is going to be a big enough group that, and for lack of a better term, a good enough group to really form up and get themselves back up into that lead. But as we look at the map, these guys, as Chris Piscini wins the battle off of pit road, but there are enough guys here that as long as Gael Brooks manages to keep himself within sniffing distance, which it looks like he may be just that little bit too far back.
see the pack just passed Gael Brooks. So they are coming in a hurry. Hopefully these guys can get up to speed quickly enough that they can stay up front, not cause any, or if they can't, to get out of the way and not cause any issues.
As that is Ross Gage up there fighting to stay on the lead lap right now. But it looks like staying out that one extra lap is going to give Chris Piscini, Justin Anderson, and Joshua Hanner. That is going to give them the lead of this race effectively, even through the pit cycles. But as we're looking, this front pack, it's Chris Piscini, Justin Anderson, Josh Hanner, Steve Gottschalk, Adam Wood, Blake Gordon, and Joe Dinsmore.
Well, I'll tell you what, those guys up front, I think Ross Gage may have helped them out a little bit there, just because that other pack, I think, had a little bit more steam, and they weren't able to easily go around them. So that worked out okay for them. That wasn't too bad.
No, but right now, if I'm being honest, if I'm on a super speedway, this is the group that I want behind me if I'm Chris Piscini.
Yeah, that's about as solid a group as you could have. I mean, honestly, the top 7, I am leaving Gael Brooks out of that just because I haven't raced with him on a super speedway, but at top 7, I mean, that is about as solid as a super speedway group as you could have.
Well, and I just look at it as Gael Brooks seemed like he was in the right place to join these guys in this pack coming out. Something must have happened on exit, and now he's 5 seconds back.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought that was him back there. That's Ross Gage. I mean, yeah, he lost a lot, but I mean, he's got a tight little group there with William Cleanbill and Blake Ziti, so might be able to work his way back up there if those guys can stay hooked up.
Well, if those guys can, but right now it's 5 seconds, and we've also added Ross Gage, Mike Bass, and Jason Swan all to this group, and we're 10 deep in this front pack, and honestly, it's going to be real difficult for that back group to make any kind of movement, especially because if we go ahead and look, as I try to find the right camera here, it's a 3-car pack.
Yeah, that's probably not gonna be enough there. I mean, you gotta hope that, first of all, you gotta stay hooked up, but then you gotta hope that lead pack will start racing each other a little bit.
Well, and the other major thing is they're actually dealing with another 3-person pack back here in Kevin Pearson, Sean Carmody, and Greg Wellen. And honestly, that's another group that it doesn't look like they're doing the best job of getting linked up, but they also have Teddy Weichel, Greg the Juice, Timothy St. Jean, Derek Schilling, as Timothy St. Jean is sliding up for some reason at this point. And this 5-car pack is probably going to turn into an 8-car pack, which is ultimately going to turn into an 11-car pack in the future.
Well, and that helps everyone, right? As long as they can stay relatively patient and not try to race each other too hard, that's the best shot they have of, possibly catching this lead group, but more importantly, just not getting lapped by this lead group.
But as we talk about it, we will actually take a quick look here, as I'm just going to go to the gearbox of, well, it helps if I grab the right person there, of Mike Burgess is the back of this group. We're just seeing specks in the distance with that second pack. So it's definitely gonna be difficult for them, but not completely insurmountable.
Well, no, not insurmountable. But again, it just goes back to they are going to have to work together. And that's not something you want to do when you're a race car driver. You want to even if you're not racing for the lead, you want to get in front of the guy in front of you because you're faster than them. And that's because anytime I'm on the track, I always believe that I'm faster than the guys around me. That's just the way it is. So you want your instincts to race. You want to race. You want to go. And you've got to just step back for a second and say, hold on. This benefits me if I just stay in line.
And super speedways, patience is the key. Right now, Chris Passini is actually in the worst position imaginable because he's going to run out of fuel first in this lead pack.
I don't know if that's much of an issue, to be honest. You saw with Gottschalk, his team pitted with him and others did. I think when Passini comes in, people are going to come with him regardless. And I don't think anybody's going to be able to stretch it on one more stop. So people have got 2 more stops in their future regardless. So honestly, I don't think he's in a bad spot right now.
But again, it's one of those things that he's lucky in the fact that they did go 1 extra lap before pitting.
Yeah.
And that's going to help stretch this out, and everybody behind him is either on the same cycle or only 1 lap earlier. So these guys, I understand that there's teams out there. We've got Closed Circuit that has 2 cars. We have 5 with Endeavor, 3 with the First Response Group, 3 with Slowpokes. Unfortunately, Palmetto is just Dan Witt tonight. We have No Pants Racing, which has 4, and then we have Steel Horse that has half the field.
They're going to get angry at us eventually, I think. But we're just spitting truth here.
It used to be First Response until some of them jumped down to join Steel Horse, and you know what? At the end of the day, you race with who you want.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
look,
it's more fun to race with people that are enjoyable to race with. That's why I love being on Closed Circuit. There are people on other teams on Monday nights. Occasionally you'll see me in with the Endeavor guys. I love running with the Steel Horse crew, especially Mr. Adam Wood, because he'll throw just as much back at us as we give him.
Well, and honestly, it's about racing with people who you enjoy racing with. That's why I'm looking for a new team.
Nick does kind of ruin the team. We love you, Nick. You're our entertainment in the race. When your knowledge of the sport is just always
sad.
Entertaining.
Oh.
Well, yes.
So let's get back to the racing, if there is any.
Right
which
now,
again, I am not criticizing a single person here when I say that. This is just the nature of this package. I mean, these guys are hanging on.
well, and right now, as we jump between Guile Brooks, who's leading that second pack, they're now nearly 9 seconds back. But on the positive side, as we see Dan Witt pull himself out of the front of that next pack as they join, we're about to see a rather large group that should be able to at least keep that lead from expanding of the first group.
Yeah, I think if they can link up, which that's the tricky part. If they can link up, I think you've got a real opportunity there to at least keep up with that lead group.
Yes, and while we are closing in on the next pit cycle, let's take a few moments and hear more about the AOLL.
The AOLL began online racing in the mid-1990s with Papyrus's NASCAR racing still going strong 27 years later. On the iRacing platform, the TNT Series races on Thursday night, running the ARCA Chevy cars for drivers looking to learn and have fun. The Cup Series races on Sunday nights, featuring league veterans and Class A licensed drivers. The Sportsman Division races on Wednesday nights, running the Gander Outdoor trucks with drivers from the Cup and TNT Series. You can catch all of the AOLL racing action right here on Ghostfire Media.
And we are back. Anyone out there that is a sim racer watching, definitely take a look at the AOLL if you've enjoyed any of the broadcasts, which we broadcast 3 nights a week for the AOLL. It's great racing, even when we can deal with a bit of a snooze fest on the package that iRacing gives us. It's still fun to run with these guys. You get to chat with a lot of interesting characters and definitely have fun.
I've honestly made lifelong friends, I think, out of this group, and AOLL is a blast to race with. Highly recommend running with these guys. Just can't say enough good things about them.
And we're watching right now this group. This is the second pack, and we're definitely sitting there waiting to see if they can start to catch that front pack, but we're now at about 9.2 seconds back. That's just going to show this lead group, who's now catching some lap traffic. These guys are just amazing at working together, giving them a chance to where anyone in this front group, if we manage to stay green and keep these packs together, anyone in this group actually has an opportunity to win this race.
Well, yeah, that's super speedway racing. I think you've got literally anyone in the field that is on the lead lap has a chance to win this race if it stays green. And the guys that aren't on the lead lap have a chance if we start getting some cautions.
Well, as again, we're starting to see this pack get to a little bit of lap traffic, and I'm going to assume that the Endeavor car that is linked up with Andrew Burgess right now is John Gordon. Let's check that. Yes, it is. But those guys, John is about to be the first car a lap down, but honestly, once they can link up with the back of this group, it's only going to make it that much stronger going forward. And if we do have a caution, John Gordon gets that lucky dog.
Yeah, that's a bummer to see. I mean, we saw in the early part of this race, John Gordon was doing really well. Like, I mean, he was back there pushing really well. And, one thing I want to talk about, we're seeing a lot of guys being very conservative right now. And I do wonder if that is the nature of this being the race before a road course, and guys realizing that sure, they want to win, but they cannot put themselves in a points deficit to the point that next week is a must win, because there are a lot of guys out here that even if they're pretty good at a road course, I think they realize that there are a few favorites in the field they have no chance of beating.
Blake Gordon
has to be one of those. I'll throw out a few others.
Justin Anderson, Chris Passini,
Joe Dinsmore. We've seen Sean Carmody, Blake Ziti have moments at road courses. Going through the list here, let me see. Honestly, Adam Wood's not bad at road courses. So, I mean, but I really think, you've got some guys that, if you're someone like a Joshua Hanner, you're sitting there thinking, I'm not going to win next week, so I have to get as many points as I can tonight, even if that's not a win, so that I can, if I get a top 10 next week, I might be able to advance to the next round.
Well, and that's exactly what we're seeing is a very conservative race from Joshua Hanner, who pretty much is in the must-win seat right now. He's pulling what is the right strategy for a super speedway that, you know what, I'm just going to hang out comfortably in third, and in the last 2 turns of this race is where you're going to start to see some aggressiveness.
Well, yeah, but I'll tell you what, I don't know that he is in a must-win. I mean, it's tight. I'm looking at points here. See here, 25-17, top 8 advance. I mean, he's like 20 points out of 8th position. So And one of the guys that's in front of him is not in the race tonight. So I don't think it's must win, but I think, if he has a finish here outside of, let's say, the top 10, next week's a must win, and that'll be very difficult for Joshua Hanner.
Well, and it's more going to be one of those things that we've seen it with road courses in this league, that sometimes people choose to not run the road courses because it's better than embarrassing yourself, for lack of a better term. And honestly, it's just one of those things that if you show up and don't place in last, you're probably still going to get some decent points, as we go on board with Justin Anderson running in second. And
that is the Brandon Bernhardt roll bar camera. Thank you very much.
Okay. Sorry, forgot that we actually named it.
I'm gonna do a graphic treatment eventually. It's coming.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. But it's always just amazing on these tracks to just look at the steering wheel inputs from these guys. And they are just so minute, so slow, so smooth. And that's why these guys are always going to end up being our favorites in these situations, because you know what? They've mastered the controls.
Yeah, it's really interesting, these fixed setup leagues that, you look at a short track and the guy who's really fast is probably the guy who's kind of got his wheel going all over the place. It's the guy who's pushing his car as hard as he can. He's having to counter steer on exit, and he's really wheeling it. He's working his butt off. But at the super speedways, the restrictor plate tracks, these guys are the fastest guys are the ones who are very smooth. We're looking at Justin Anderson here. I'm seeing very smooth, not huge motions, just slowly moving over, slowly moving back. Like that's smooth right there.
As we have Ross Gage, who has entered the pit lane, so I think we are officially at the point to where we're going to start to see our lead pack slowly make their way into the pits.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised they've gone as long as they have. With some of these guys that pitted at lap 22, we're at about 45 now, so maybe they've short pitted a little bit last time and able to take it a little bit further now.
As we are just waiting on that, but this lead group seems to have lost a car or two, as we are seeing the closed circuit guys dive into the pits. They are actually going to have some company, as Justin Anderson and all of the Steel Horse guys choose to stay out. My guess is Chris Piscini leading all of those laps. This was the absolute limit for him.
Yeah, that didn't work out great for those guys. You may have been right in the end that perhaps he should have, dipped out and let those other guys lead a little bit. But look, when you can lead the race, you want to take advantage of that, because it's pretty difficult to get wrecked from the lead when we get this kind of single file racing.
But there are quite a few cars coming in and leaving right now, and that's actually going to end up benefiting Chris Piscini, who just right now with these guys, they've got a few cars to run with, as for some reason Joshua Hanner is 2.5 or nearly 3 seconds back, but he also has Derek Schilling, Dan Witt right there with him.
Yeah, that wasn't a great pit stop for Hanner. And we've seen that a few times this season. Let's be honest, he's not been the best on pit road.
He's better than me.
Well, I was about to say he should spend some time with his team practicing, and then I realized who would have to practice with, and that wouldn't be any better.
Oh, yeah, you have teammates that rear end each other going into the pits under caution. And
yeah. You got teams that go in the grass trying to enter the pits. They nick it. I think I think he's done exactly what he should do, and that's just figure it out on his own.
As we're seeing, Josh Hanner, he is all alone.
Yeah, this is the worst case scenario for him. He is losing a ton of time right now. He's got to be able to link up with somebody. This is
but
very,
right
very
now,
bad for him.
Adam Wood is slowing down, almost as if he's trying to pick up Josh Hanner.
Yeah, possible. I didn't see what he was doing before. I don't know if he lost the guy in front of him, which is Blake Gordon. Yeah, we'll have to see and see how it plays out here.
But right now, Josh Hanner, coming from what was an absolutely terrible pit stop, is under a second and a half behind Adam Wood, and that's probably just enough for Josh Hanner to be able to catch himself up to the pack. But I really want to try to figure out exactly what.
How about I go back and take a look? We're having Adam Wood. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. You go and keep covering the stuff.
Also, Blake Gordon has lost the pack ever so slightly as well. So that's definitely not the race he's wanting to run right now. But Chris Piscini has moved his way back up to the lead as they have caught some lap traffic of one of the Endeavor cars. Who knows? But I have a feeling.
I looked at Adam there. He was gapped coming off pit road. He didn't have the pack from the very beginning.
But right now it looks like Chris Piscini is looking to take advantage of this lap traffic in front of him and have these guys just end up lined up taking that draft, as we may be able, or we won't be able to make it. There's going to be one more pit cycle tonight.
There has to be. I mean, unless these guys are literally turning their engines off, there has to be another pit cycle.
Well, and yeah, there's no way these guys are running at the speed that they are with an engine that's just not running.
Hey, and you know what I'm going to do for us tonight? I'm going to keep an eye on my own lap counter, and that way we can be sure we know when the race is going to end.
Well, hopefully we don't have the same issues that we did last time, but you know what? I'm not going to trust it.
Yeah, when it switched over to the to-go, I'm like, I'm going to keep an eye on it myself.
Well, this time I'm actually running the numbers inside of my head here, as we are just 25 to go. Hopefully it's right this time. And again, we're just seeing this lead pack just tear away.
So do we have any idea who it is in front of?
I may be able to figure
John
out.
Gordon?
Well,
I think it's John.
That is definitely not John.
Oh, I was trying to look at lap down. Well, that person isn't a lap down, so maybe Bernhardt.
So Brandon Bernhardt. It is Brandon Bernhardt. But again, all these cars behind, we've got Chris Piscini, Justin Anderson, Steve Gottschalk, Joe Densmore, and that's Timothy St. Jean and Derek Schilling, who are both a lap down, and the first two cars a lap down right now. But it looks like Brandon Bernhardt is going to end up staying on the lead lap by virtue of these guys wanting to just have him punch the hole through the air.
Right. This is a symbiotic relationship right here. I mean, this is, a situation where Bernhardt gets to stay on the lead lap and Piscini doesn't have to use as much fuel.
Which is going to be in his best interest, but no matter what, we are going to end up with one more pit stop, because if we actually take the quick look at our pit strategy, we've got 23, we're seeing 22 to 24 laps, and that's it. So we definitely have one more stop, because these guys are all out on 7 or 6 laps right now. So we've got one more stop ahead of us.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way to get around it. There has to be another stop here, and I think it'll be guys pushing it as long as they can go, and they're going to come in for a quick splash and go and see what happens. Because at this point, you don't want to be the guy who goes in with one or two people, and then you come out and you have no pack with you. You want to make sure that you are taking advantage of the fact that you're running with cars for as long as you can.
As we keep seeing Derek Schilling there at the back peek out, I'm not sure if he's just doing it to make sure his engine doesn't overheat, but the distance we've seen some of these guys running tonight, I don't think that's any kind of a problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is what I would typically say is shaping up to be a great race, caution free, but I'm not hoping for a caution right now. Is that bad of me?
No.
I want to see these guys like we had at the beginning of the race, side by side and going at it. And again, I don't fault a single one of them for what they're doing. Like, I mean, if let's look at someone like Justin Anderson, who we know would love to win this race, and I'm sure by the end of the race is going to go for it. He jumps out. Sure, he has some teammates behind him, but there's a good chance that you just fall to the back, and it's easier just to sit and run where you're at.
Well, and it's Talladega. We're used to seeing the big one. There's been absolutely nothing, but I think if it's going to come, it's going to come in the last 5 laps as some of these guys start to get racy, get themselves in positions to take the win. But right now, we're looking at this pack, only 4 of them are on the lead lap and actually battling for that win. And the guy that's at the front isn't one of them. Did I lose a Carl Henderson?
No, sorry, I was reading Facebook comments. Yeah, looks like actually YouTube comments in this case. I think I agree with you. I think we're gonna. I think after we have our next round of pits stops, we're about to have things start heat up a little bit.
Well, and I think all of these guys, we haven't really seen much strategy play out at this point because there's not really an opportunity for strategy because everybody's trying to push their pit stops to the absolute limit. So for this last pit cycle, they have that opportunity to start getting a little creative. And we're in the window right now to where if anyone did choose to stop, they would be safe to the end of the race, just maybe not for green-white checkers.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there.
To where I think we are going to end up seeing these guys push this to the absolute limit.
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk pushing it to the end right now. We're going to be at about 10 laps. That's going to make sure that you can get through what I'm hoping isn't all of the green-white checkers without pitting. But we've seen races won and lost in that manner. So, and especially with our leaders having that great push or great pull from Brandon Bernhardt, there's no reason to go in unless he does.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're in a position where you can just draft off of people, yeah, go for it.
But with 18 to go, we're looking at the track map. We have just 5 distinct packs running around this track right now. And honestly, this is what happens when you go green flag this long, is one person will end up blowing a pit stop, and then we see another break or group 4. And we're now through 2 pit cycles. So really the only hope that you have at this point for some of these back groups is a caution.
Yeah, I think there's no way you could form up and try to get tightened up. And I think you need a caution at this point. These guys up front are staying real tight. Maybe as the race winds down, they'll start racing each other a little bit, and then they'll have a shot. But not if we stay like this.
Well, as we are closing in on the pit cycles, let's hear from our sponsor tonight, Guitar Attic.
Hi, I'm Randy from the Guitar Attic. Can we be serious for a second? Are you tired of being a loser? Can't do anything right? Feel like everyone's coming down on you all the time? Well, there's a way out, and I'm going to show you. Hey Mom, look what I learned. That's right, pick up a guitar, learn how to play guitar. Automatically you're going to become a chick magnet. The ladies are going to love you. Your kids are going to think you're cool. So what you need to do is come down here to the Guitar Attic, 1672.5 Ridgewood Avenue in Daytona Beach, Florida, or go to guitarattic.com and buy yourself a guitar and automatically be the star of your neighborhood. That's guitarattic.com.
And we are back, and surprise, surprise, there are absolutely no new storylines for us to discuss because no one came into the pits. All of our packs are still in the exact same place they were when we left, but we have 15 to go.
Hey, how about for a storyline? What's happening with Joshua Hanna right now?
Honestly, we'll jump back. Mr. Adam Wood and he have linked up. We do have a 5-car pack right now, and they have cut a little bit into Joe Densmore's gap to where they're slowly closing in. It's a little over 8 seconds, but honestly, I don't think they're a half second a lap faster, so I think this is probably where these guys are going to end up finishing.
Yeah, I would, at the very least, the maximum position they could get is, that position. What's Adam in there? He's in 5th. So the best position you can get out of that group's 5th.
But honestly, it's actually a very good pack that we're looking at right now, to where with Adam, Joshua Hanner, Blake Gordon, and that is the lap down car of Andrew Burgess. These guys are great at this kind of racing, and we've seen occasionally Blake Gordon right there on the bumper of Joshua Hanner, and that's what these guys need to do.
Oh, we're pitting. They're wrecking. Leaders are wrecking.
Oh, good Lord. And because that is off of the racing surface.
No caution. Well, some of them are coming back on the racing surface. That might bring out a caution.
As we do have a very slow car, but it's pointed the right direction. And what happened?
I think we need to take a look at replay on that one.
I was going to say, let's
jump back to Greg Wellen. Yeah. Oh, we got to go further back than that, I guess.
Well, we're doing this the easy way.
Maybe let's try to get a closer camera and...
Yeah. And that's just everybody just going in. And it looks like Greg Wellen and Derek Schilling just end up getting connected there and just wreaking havoc.
Well, that took out one of our leaders, or our leader. I mean, that's...
There's Derek slamming the brakes, and yeah, that's...
Look. I mean, Derek should have been lower than that, no doubt. But Greg has to be more aware than that. I mean, you see a guy checking up. I mean, it's a tough position to be in, but you got to be aware and be prepared to move out of the way when you see cars pitting. Well, with that bit of chaos, that's given Adam Wood the lead. And with all of that I'm going to say that is 8 seconds worth of crazy that should be able to give these guys the opportunity to get themselves back where they need to be. With 11 laps to go, that's... I'm speechless. Yeah, that was insane right there. Kind of crazy that our only real storyline we've had for the most part on this race is somebody getting hit entering pit road and causing issues, and yeah, that was a roller coaster.
After a night of talking strategy and about how everybody's trying to just stay in line, yeah, I got nothing.
Well, yeah, I mean that just goes to show that leading the race sure feels safe, but doesn't always work out that way.
But as they're coming around, I do want to take a quick look, and unfortunately, it keeps going back to the wrong place. Just kind of see from Derek Schilling's point of view right here, as he's on the brakes. Yeah, he was far.
Yeah, that was a lot further on the racing surface than I thought. So I apologize to Greg Welling. I'd still argue. I mean, I've said before that I don't believe in. It's a very rare situation that someone is 100% at fault for a wreck. So there are obviously things Greg Welling could have done to avoid that there, but yeah, it's swinging back to Derek Schilling there. That was just a little bit of a mistake there on his part.
Well, and right now we're seeing our leaders. Right there is Greg Welling, who was involved in that, going a lap down in the process. And we are just, we're starting to see these guys. I don't know how they have this much fuel in their tank. Because,
well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if we go back to...
He's right at the point where these guys are coming in right now.
Yep.
And this is the pack that I want to be a part of right now, as we'll go ahead, we'll get...
The tractor trailers?
Well, maybe. But right now, Sean Carmody, Blake Ziti also joined this group, to where Teddy Weichel, who was 17 seconds back, may end up taking over the lead of this race.
These guys right here, these three, need to have the pit stops of their lives, and we've seen. I mean, you just saw it. It looks like they were.
Looks
perfect.
like they did, but let's see where they blend back out on track, as Steve Gottschalk is charging. And yeah, these guys are going to be sitting ducks, to where they may actually be able to catch their draft as they're coming out of the pits, but I don't think they're going to be able to be up to speed enough to really hold on to them. But with 8 laps to go, that little bit of an incident, these three...
I think they're okay. They got up to speed.
But the question
just
is,
barely. I mean, they're
what
still slower,
kind of a run is Steve Gottschalk going to be able to get on them?
Oh, enormous.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be huge, to where Steve and Joe, it looks like they're just going to slot in, as Josh Hanner goes out to block just ever so slightly. But as they hit the turns, no, Steve is... They hit those stops as perfectly as they could. And with 7 laps to go, we got some drama.
Yeah, this is it. We had, what was it? Almost 70 laps of racing with not a whole lot happening, just setting up for the actual race to happen. That was basically qualifying, and here we go.
As we've got a group of 5 cars that currently have a 14-second gap to 6th place. And right now, Blake Gordon is really up on that bumper of Joshua Hanner. He's wanting to make sure that Steve Gottschalk and Joe Densmore aren't really going to be able to get a run. But Adam Wood is coming up on another Endeavor car that I couldn't tell you who it is. I'm going to assume, if I was that car, I would be sitting there trying to play the team game. as Joe Dinsmore is trying to get a run around this group.
Not going to work.
That is not going to end up working, and he's actually going to end up probably dropping to the back of... Oh, I was figuring Tim was going to suck up there, but Tim's the gentleman.
Always a gentleman.
But right now, with the gap that Steve Gottschalk and Joe Dinsmore have, that front pack should be worried because they are going to be able to get a monster run as long as it's timed correctly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is, these cars don't have the kind of, this package doesn't have the kind of drafting like you see in the trucks or even the ARCA cars. But yeah, you can absolutely get a run, but they weren't really holding back. I mean, Gottschalk's right back up with this group.
As Blake Gordon's kind of taking a little bit higher of a line to make sure that he can defend, block, whatever he needs to do to keep those guys at bay. As we cross the line, and that's going to take us to 4 to go. And as we stay in the top 5 is Adam Wood, Joshua Hanner, Blake Gordon, Steve Gottschalk, and Joe Dinsmore. Yeah,
this and 6th, right? Actually, no, sorry, Tim St. Jean's a lap down, so he's just kind of hanging out there with them. But this group of 5 plus Tim St. Jean looking pretty stout right now. Looks like they're going to be hard to pass.
But they're coming up on lap traffic of Justin Anderson and Chris Piscini.
So unfortunate.
That is, but now the question becomes, this lead pack has 3 Steel Horse Racing, 1 Closed Circuit, and 1 Endeavor. And those 2, we have a Steel Horse and a Closed Circuit. Is there going to be a little bit of team shenaniganry going on here?
I mean, maybe. There's always a chance.
No, they clear up to the high line. They'll probably join the back of this pack once they get past, but there's more lap traffic ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the person who has to be loving this right now is Adam Wood. I mean, as long as there's lap traffic, I mean, it's going to make it harder for these guys to jump out and try to pass him. As long as these speed differentials, because, if a guy, let's say a Blake Gordon tries to jump out and jump in behind, like, Piscini and Anderson there, they're going so much slower right now, he's not going to get any sort of run off of them.
No, and that's going to make this unbelievably interesting as we come to the checkered flag with 2 to go. We're coming out of turn 2. Now's the time to start thinking about and setting up your passes. And we're going to see Blake Gordon, who is alone as an Endeavor driver. Is he going to go for the win, or is he going to do what he can to maybe push someone else to the win?
Well, I think I know Blake Gordon. He's always been going for a win, and I don't fault him for that. But, sometimes all you can do is push someone. So, we'll have to see. White flag coming out this time by.
As we are on the final lap, which means we are going to go caution-free tonight, despite the fact that there probably shouldn't have been. But that's iRacing for you.
And look, Hanner's leaving a little bit of a gap there between him and Adam Wood. Oh, Blake Gordon going to the outside.
As we're starting to see a lot of shaking as Blake Gordon is down on that low line. Joshua Hanner goes to make a great move up to the top, but right now he's trying to see what he's going to be able to do. And at the end of the day, I don't know. Blake Gordon is right up on Adam Wood as we are coming down the front stretch. Adam Wood is in position to win this, and Adam Wood is gonna take the win tonight with Blake Gordon trying to pressure him for the win. Just can't, because Adam just had he had his car in the exact right position to keep Blake from getting around him.
Yeah, that was a wild finish right there. hell of a finish. Adam Wood, great win there, and it was funny because I posted on the IBRL chat just before the race that Adam was probably going to wreck out, and here we are.
You gave him the anti-commentator's curse. All right, as we are sitting here waiting for everyone to make their way across the line for the last time. There we go. Now we have some results as we get to watch Adam Wood burn down the Goodyears. So our winner tonight is Mr. Adam Wood. Second is Blake Gordon. Third is Joshua Hanner. Fourth, Joe Dinsmore. Fifth is Steve Gottschalk. Sixth, William Klingbill. Seventh, Guile Brooks. Eighth, Sean Carmody. Ninth, Blake Ziti. And 10th is the Juice.
11th, we have Justin Anderson. 12th, Tony Bandon. 13th, Kevin Pearson. 14th is Mike Bass. 15th, Mike Burgess. 16th, Tim St. Jean. 17th, Chris Bassini. 18th, Teddy Weichel. 19th, Greg Wellen. And in 20th, Andrew Burgess.
And then in 21st, it's Brandon Bernhardt. 22nd, John Gordon. 23rd, Ross Gage. 24th, David Naughton. 25th, Derek Schilling. 26th, Jason Swan. 27th is Dan Witt. 28th is Randy Pepper. And rounding out the field is Marshall Hall in 29th, and 30th is Justin Edwards. All right. He's not done yet, but we're going to go ahead and bring up Mr. Adam Wood. Hey, Adam, I know you're not done burning down the tires, but you got a copy?
I got a copy of Mud Engine, cool down a little bit, then continue to do it since it's my first cup win here.
Well, I got to ask you, man. I posted on the IVRL chat earlier that you were probably going to wreck out tonight. Did you get this win just to make me look stupid?
Basically, no. I thought my night was over. My team had a really good plan, and good old Dre decided they wanted to change my fuel strategy as I went into the pit road, and got me all sequencing with my guys. Got me like 8 seconds off the win or the lead there, and luckily we were able to get a pack together, and man, I was driving angry for a little bit.
Yeah, we saw you and Hanner for a while. Like you had lost the pack, and Hanner was a little ways behind you, and he gained up, caught up with you, and you guys didn't have any chance of catching that lead pack, but you worked well together to keep yourself in contention. But I wanted to ask you, what did you think of the package tonight?
Whoever is out front has the win, basically. I mean, I was monitoring the arrow push that Hanner was giving me and noticing the distance and making sure he did not get too far out, or I didn't get too far out from him so he could get out of the run. Because I think it was middle 1 and 2. I saw Blake just destroy the rear end of his, give him a huge push, but I just didn't want to, I wanted that push to be coming to my back bumper and aerodynamically staying in there versus him having some type of room to be able to use that aero momentum and kind of go blow by me on that back straightaway.
So since we aren't going to get to chat with any of the people that were impacted by it, what was the team chat like when your Wednesday night teammate may have caused some issues going into pit road?
It was spicy, of course. Most people have push to talk, so they kind of keep that internally balled up. I know whenever I missed my pit stop sequence with the rest of the guys, we took a 8.5 gallon. Supposed to take 8.5 gallons. We only take one fuel can to kind of get out in front of everybody. And once I saw it hit 9.5 and kept going, I was really upset.
I mean, the incident that we had definitely played in your favor, but
yes, it did. I mean, I've been on the opposite end of that numerous times where, it was me getting impacted or something like that, and took away something I thought that could have been mine, and tonight just fell on my lap.
It seems to happen a lot with you on super speedways.
I understand them, but this package is nowhere near what I like. I like the trucks and the Xfinity where you can actually do something with it, versus you can't really do anything with this. I mean, you got to have a lot of people really working together and being very cohesive to make this work.
Well, and we did see it a few times, especially earlier in the race, the anonymous black cars that tried to form up out on the outside lane, but even with 5 people just fully coordinated, still couldn't make it work.
Yeah, I mean, you got to really be behind somebody and really transfer that energy. And if you're not really transferring that energy well within that whole entire line, then it's going to fall apart. Like the second guy has really got to break that aero bubble, stay on the back bumper, and that third person in line's got to basically do the same thing. And the only person doesn't ever break that air bubble is the last guy in the chain, and he's using that air bubble to push everybody else forward. If anybody's kind of lackadaisical or not really putting in the effort because they're scared to push, that outside lanes will never come in.
No, it was a great. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just want to ask. I mean, you've got to win. You're guaranteed to advance to the next round. What's your strategy going into next week? I mean, are you going to be really no point in trying to points race, since you're guaranteed? I mean, do you have any ideas of how you might try to go and win that race?
I mean, I put in some laps yesterday. I'm going to have IVRL to kind of put the laps in on Tuesday night. Another handful of laps there. So, I mean, I'm going to kind of get competitive for that. I really need a point in for that league versus this league now, since I'm into the next round. But, I've been practicing it and not knowing if this is always one of those biggest bust if you're ever going to be, make it or not, So, I'm practicing next week with, I had to have a really great night to move forward.
Isn't winning at Talladega how you ended up in the chase for the IVRL too?
I mean, I would have pointed my way into IVRL, but yeah, I went ahead and kind of locked in, which took a lot, the monkey off your back, so to speak. Kind of, eased up some tensions, during those spicier weeks that we had. And so, I mean, the same thing's going to be happening next week. If I miss a corner, I miss a braking zone, it's not the end of the world. I'm through to the next round, and I can start, mentally preparing for that round. But I'm going to still put my best foot forward and, trying to help my teammates out. And, I'm really gracious to be on the SHR team now. These guys have kind of pushed me to be a little bit better than what I was. I've put in the seat time, put in the hours. And, I think the Achilles heel I've had for a really long time is, having a good car, but starting mid-pack. And lately I've been qualifying up front in the top 3 for the last 2 weeks now. So, I'm trying to take this momentum to the next round.
You definitely have it, and it was a great win. A little bit of luck fell on your side, but that's also plate track racing.
Yeah, I mean, that's, plate track racing is all about luck, where you're at, what position you're in, especially with this package. If this was a next-gen package or the previous aerodynamic package, they would have pulled out. 2 cars would have been on work that outside line and destroy me. But with this new package, I mean, you have to have somebody work with them. I felt Hanner could have done it, and I think Blake would have went with him, and then Blake would have tried to dump Hanner, going down that back straightaway. Me and Gael Brooks were able to, kind of lay back a little bit. I formulated it. I said, hey man, I'm gonna lay back going into turn 1 here. I'm gonna floor it going through turn 2. I'm gonna come out and side draft Gordon, Blake, to see what I can do with it. And I was able to side draft him, slow him down, and with the help of Gael, he was able to push me up in front of him. We both cleared him. So, I was practicing my last lap moves there, hoping that, I'll have a teammate with me or just, somebody that can understand what the hell I'm doing.
No, it was a great run from you tonight. You get the win, and now you get to hold it over a lot more people's heads on the podcast.
I finally got above Larry with my third place finish in the Cup.
No, great.
So yeah, I mean, it feels great finally getting in. I got the Sportsman a couple weeks back, and unfortunately that one wasn't broadcast. And, life gets in the way sometimes, and it's cool. But I be able to come out and finally do this. I kind of want to show it out, win on more of a technical track, but I'll take a win any day of the week.
No, it was great to chat with you. It was a great run tonight, but we'll see you next week at the Roval, sir.
All right, gents. And then I'll shout out to the iFlag sponsor. He actually, watched the race tonight. So he was sitting in our chat tonight. Jeff Brown, he's a great guy. So I'm going to give him a shout out for actually tuning in tonight to one of his series that he sponsors, or teams that he sponsors within this series.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Have a good night, gents.
All right, let's chat with Mr. Blake Gordon. Hey, Blake, this is Josh and Carl in the booth. You got a copy?
Of course. What's going on tonight?
Hey, Josh, are you sure we should have pulled up Blake? Because I'm actually not sure that's who finished second. They all looked alike.
I mean,
somehow it was me.
I'm just trusting timing and scoring, so they could have also have switched accounts tonight just to mess with us too.
No.
So hey man, that was a great run. A little bit of chaos there on that pit cycle that helped propel you up to the front, but wanted to ask you about that end, that last lap. You were running in third there. You had Hannah and Adam in front of you. Tell us what was going through your head there.
What was going through my head was it was going to be a pretty boring finish because this package is absolute, trash. So I knew Steve and Joe were going to be working together, obviously being teammates. I knew it was going to be me and Hannah that could probably work together, but then I'm going through my head, do I really want to push him to a win considering his chase situation right now? And then just knowing my teammates were, once again caught up in miscellaneous, bullshit throughout the night and weren't up there again at the finish. I was like, well, I guess I'm going to see what I can do here, maybe get second. So there was some little shake up there with Hannah on the backstretch in the last lap where I was able to kind of get inside of him. And then I knew from there I just had to push Adam. I mean, you can't do anything with this package. It's awful. It was no fun to drive. It was probably one of the worst races I've been a part of this season, despite the fact we went caution free, even though we probably shouldn't have. Just the racing was terrible. Can't do anything with this current package. It's just not fun to drive whatsoever.
Well, I mean, trust me, we definitely got to see the downsides of this package, and that we just got to go through the field the entire night just trying to find a storyline, and unfortunately there was nothing to be found until we had some incidents.
I mean, it's just not, I don't know. I mean, even if it is more realistic, this package is just, it's a miss entirely. It's the worst plate package of any of the stock cars. It's not fun at all. And tomorrow night for fuel should be a much better race at the same racetrack with the Xfinity car, which oddly enough usually produces better racing than the Cup package. But that first run, I was trying to make some moves happen. I think we got up to almost the front there, and then you just try to make moves, try to side draft, you pull out a line, and you stall out, you go way in the back. So, and then we couldn't figure out how to draft in the outside line together early on, and then I think the team downfalls kind of started off when Brandon got hit under yellow and then spun on pit road, burned his fast repair, and then kind of got separated from everyone else. And then I think Dad even got sideswiped by someone trying to hit pit road. So there's a lot of stuff that just goes on in these races I don't quite understand anymore. So it's just kind of hard for the whole team to survive and have a good finish together when at least a handful of us every week are getting screwed by someone else's poor racecraft. So,
I mean, in all honesty, it takes all of the drama out of a plate track, because you look at what happened on Thursday night with the TNT in the ARCAs, you could even make 3 lanes work.
Yeah, I
And
mean, like that's what you should be able to do at a plate track. You should be able to race and get dicey, and it's just this package. You can't do it at all. I mean, forget it. A third lane tonight never even formed because, I mean, it just wasn't even worth it. So
A second lane never really formed.
no, I mean, like it was hopeless. You get out there and you just realize, well, this isn't going anywhere. So just stay in line, and it's boring. It's boring to be a part of, and it's probably boring to watch. So the only way that race would have been spiced up is if we had gotten the yellow for the guys who had their misfortune on pit road, but somehow that kind of propelled us from 7th, 8th, and 9th after we got separated from the leaders on pit road. I think they took one can. I was surprised at that like 2 or 3 second difference. Waiting for that second can to plug is what dropped me from Justin, Steve, Joe, and hung me out really to dry with Adam and Hanner behind me. So, had that yellow come out, maybe we would have been able to re-rack and have a slightly more exciting finish, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it honestly, again, it's always fun to come to these tracks, but I guess I was hopeful that with this group that we had, we would have been able to see the outside line form up. I was actually really excited when we saw all 5 Endeavor cars pull to the outside, hoping that you guys would be able to make it work, and then we just saw you guys drop and knew that we were in for a night of single file, and probably the only excitement we would see would be the last lap.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, even the 5 of us couldn't figure out how to go fast on the outside. I mean, you had to get right up on the tail of the guy in front of you and just basically be able to hold it steady right behind his bumper, and we weren't able to get the right combination of cars there to make that work. But I mean, that's no one's fault. It's just that's how you have to drive this package. It's not like the truck. It's not like the old Cup package where you could be in like a nice line, maybe not, picture perfect and everything, and still make moves happen. This one is just, it requires a whole nother level of, I don't know, just understanding how to, I don't even know the right word.
You probably would have had to have
but
been...
I really don't like it.
No, I think the only person that likes it right now is Adam Wood.
Yeah, I mean, he figures it out. He always does well. I was glad that when I got linked up with someone, it was Adam and Hanner. Those are 2 guys I always trust on the plate track. So if I had to, handpick 2 guys that weren't Justin Anderson to run around with, it'd be those 2 guys. So yeah, it all kind of worked out. I mean, it's, obviously second place is good. So we got the Roval coming up. So should be in a position just to ride around that place, and as long as we keep it on track, should advance no problem. But
well, hey, that was a perfect segue into my next question. I wanted to ask about the Roval, and I know that you're obviously the favorite going into that track. I mean, you are incredibly good at road courses, and I'm not going to ask you, well, are you going to try to win? Because obviously you're going to try to win. We know that you're a very aggressive and have poor racecraft. I'm just kidding.
Hey, you know what? That's 100% accurate.
Well, but we know that you're going to go for the win, but I'm curious, like, looking at it from perspective of you're advancing. How aggressive are you going to be in going for a win next week?
Well, that's kind of just the thing, I mean, having the bonus points stashed up. There's really there's nothing to lose, so like, why not just run out there, see what we can do. I gotta admit though, I don't really have a lot of track time on the Roval. I think I only have like a handful of official stock car races there. I don't think the league we've ever ran it in anything official, so I guess I gotta brush up on it, and yeah, we'll see what we can go do. I mean, all the usual guys you expect are going to be up at the front will probably be up there, so it's a 75-minute race for some reason. So they're just slowly getting longer. So it's going to be quite a workout tonight, or next Sunday, trying to keep it on track the entire night, because those turtles can be killer.
Yeah, just avoid them. The worst ones are the final chicane.
Yeah, I think they even, I don't know what version we're on, but I know they reconfigured the backstretch chicane a little bit. So yeah, I guess I got to hop on and figure that out.
You could use the backstretch ones to turn you a little bit.
Yeah,
the front stretch
should be fun. It's a road course. It'll be more fun than tonight, that's for sure.
Well, looking forward to it, but it again, it was a great run from you tonight. You didn't have the greatest qualifying effort, but
I can't
made
figure out
the right
super
moves.
speedway qualifying. I can talk my guys through it, but I can't do it. I don't know.
I think the secret is to go faster than everyone else.
Yeah, I can't figure it out. I'm like, I don't understand how we're 2/10 off. I feel like I'm doing all the right things, but if there's a track where the saying is, it doesn't matter where you start, it's where you finish. It's definitely the plate track. So, whatever. I can handle bad qualifying at Talladega, Daytona, iRacing, Super Speedway.
Well, especially on tracks that you can actually, make a second lane work. But again, you got a second tonight, so can't complain too much. And you'd exercise the demons on Wednesday to where we can't make fun of you for not being able to win on a plate track anymore.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, well, technically there's no restrictor plate on those cars. So, if you want to be technical, I guess that's still true. But there's always tomorrow night. Remember, I was leading Daytona on the last lap till I got right hooked into the backstretch wall for some reason.
And if you'll have me, I will join you and try to help you exercise the demons in a car.
I'll be there as well.
I just hope my team is there at the end of tomorrow night's race. We've proven when we link up together, we can work well. It's just inevitably a handful of us always get caught up in someone else's mistakes on a plate race. So we just got to stay clean and go out there and get it tomorrow night.
All right. We wish you luck tomorrow night. It was a great run tonight. And again, we'll see you for the Roval. Hopefully the Turtles don't get you.
Yeah, I hope not. Well, thanks again, as always, for doing the broadcast, and we'll chat with you tomorrow, maybe.
All right. See you, sir.
See you guys later.
All right. That is going to do it for us tonight on Ghostfire Media. Make sure check.
I can go through the schedule real quick. How about I do that real fast?
I was going to do that myself, but I will let you do it. No.
Okay. It sounded like you were going to just wrap it up, but I'll run through the schedule real quick. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m., the Jeff Hill Trailer Sales Fuel Premier Series is going to tackle Talladega. Should be a really fun race. Looking forward to it. And as mentioned earlier, should be a more fun package with that one as well. Tuesday night, the IVRL Butt Kicker Series. That one starts at 7 p.m., correct? 7 p.m.? Yeah.
Correct.
They are at Texas. It is the first race of the round of 8.
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty. Hold on. Oh no, sorry. They're at Roval. They're at the Roval. Sorry, I got one ahead of it.
You're inevitably going to keep screwing up at the IVRL.
Yeah, they're in the last race of the round of 12. No, the schedule I had the Texas highlighted, and it just my eyes were drawn to it. So the Roval for IVRL, and then Wednesday night the AOLL Sportsman Series. 8 p.m. will be racing at Texas. That is the last race of the round of 18. Thursday night, the AOLL TNT Series at 8 p.m. will be racing at USA International. And then Friday night, as always, join us on the podcast. We're actually doing a fun race this week. Going to be doing bringing some guys in from all of our leagues to race in an open setup race where they don't know the car, don't know the track going into it, and they kind of have to figure out a setup really quickly right before the race. So that's going to be kind of wild and crazy. I'm looking forward to it. And then Sunday night, Josh and I will be here with you. That'll be the Charlotte Roval, 8 p.m. for the AOLL Cup Series.
It's going to be a great week of racing. I love the Roval. It's one of my personal favorite tracks. It's one of the few road courses that actually works in a stock car. And honestly, the TNT is going to be... All right, USA is chaos no matter what car you run. And sometimes you hit your teammates on the first lap and screw yourself. Don't know if I'm talking from experience there, but yes, I am. And Sportsman, Texas, love Texas, but not in the trucks. But
well, hey, you're gonna have to go out and win this one if you want to advance.
I don't think I need to win it, but definitely need to be like top 8. But no, I'm actually very much looking forward to our fun race. The only person that has any idea of what's going on is Carl. And I know he's going to pick something because he knows my strengths, weaknesses, and knows that I can't make setups for certain tracks and certain cars. So I guarantee he's going to pick something that I'm going to be terrible at.
I'm not picking anything. I am literally going to randomly choose something. I'm going to feed it in some options, and it's going to spit out what I'm going to create.
Oh, I like that.
Yep. I don't want to know what it is either, because I know there's always a chance that there could be like inherent biases that I'm not aware of, and I don't want that to be a chance. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to show anyone favor. It's going to be completely random.
All right, I can live with that as long as it's a road course. But it'll do us everything for us tonight on Ghostfire Media. Make sure and connect with us on any of the nights that we broadcast, basically Saturdays. Saturdays are the only days that we aren't broadcasting right now. But thank you from everyone here at Ghostfire Media. I'm Josh Laston.
And I'm Carl Henderson.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching iRacing on the Ghostfire Media Network.